Welcome to the latest edition of CODA's Plugging Away podcast. My name's Francis Norman. I am delighted to be here to have a conversation with Harald Linga from SWIPA. Harald, welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit, please?
Thank you very much, Francis. Yes, my name is Harald Linga. I'm a research manager in SINTEF, but I'm also running the SWIPA Innovation Center for Well Integrity, Plugging and Abandonment. So that's a center for innovative research. It's sponsored by the main sponsor, Research Council of Norway, but it's also sponsored by industry, in particular operating companies in Norway. That's Equinor, Aker BP, Harbour Energy, and Vår Energy. It also is partnering with 30 other industry company and organization, including CODA.
Including ourselves, yes. Yeah. So, how did you get to be doing this? What was your background? Was Wells Research where you spent your early career as well, or is that where you found yourself now?
Yeah, I started actually as a professional in 1984 on research on multi-phase pipe flow. So SINTEF and IFE were partnering in developing the Olga simulation program. So that has been a basis for the design of the multi-phase pipe flow in the North Sea. It's quite famous, actually. And then I've been 17 years in industry with product development, basing my competence on multi-phase pipe flow. We developed equipment for treating and cleaning gas, oil, and water.
Very interesting. I mean, Olga it's not just famous in Norway. It's used all over the world, isn't it? It's an amazing piece of software. So innovation is clearly innovation. That research translation into product that's been your life, yeah.
Yeah, that has been very exciting. So then from let's say 97 to 2013, I was in industry, and then I went back again to research. Started with drilling and well in SINTEF. So that has been my background when we together with our research partners developed application for the SWIPA Research Center.
Yeah. So SWIPA, you say you've got 4 operating companies and 30 industry partners. Who were the researchers? It's because it's multiple different universities and research centers, yeah, that are partners in this.
That's correct. There are 2 universities. That's the Norwegian Technical University in Trondheim and the University of Stavanger. So their position is to, let's say, recruit and educate PhD candidates, and also they are engaging postdocs for this center. So in total, they have 13 scholarship holders for postdocs and PhDs. The research institutes, there are 3 in SWIPA, and that's SINTEF as the host, and it's NORS, and it's IFE.
Yeah. So it's quite a complex beast, really, that you're managing there, yeah, with 5 different research centers, 4 operators, 30 other companies involved, and how long has the program been running?
We have been running this for 5 years, so we have still 3 years to work with these tasks.
Yeah. And then from memory, you've got a number of themes then within the program. Do you want to talk us through what the themes are and what the objectives are with them?
Yeah, basically we have focused on well barrier materials and the fundamental part. We also have application for well integrity outside the oil and gas branch, for instance, CO2 storage. Mm-hmm. And then we have a work package on scale-up testing, because we want to approach a higher TRR level for, let's say, we want to address important and interesting results from the basic work and elevate this towards a higher scale. And then finally, we have one work package on how to make spin-off projects that means we want to further develop the results towards even higher TRR level, and that will be done outside SWIPA because as the Research Council of Norway is the main sponsor, we cannot use state money for particular companies. So that's why it's so important that we have spin-off projects.
So at that point, then it gets the baton, if you like, gets passed to, would it be Innovation Norway that would take over from there?
That can be a solution. It can be single client projects with the operators. It can be joint industry projects, and it can be collaboration with the Net Zero Technology, which is a Great Britain organization and also a partner in SWIPA. So there are several opportunities we want to list and prepare for our partners.
So how's it all going then? I'm quite close in as much as I sit in and listen to your regular presentations where your researchers come along, talk about the amazing work that they're doing, which is so far beyond my understanding most of the time. It's not. It's embarrassing, but they seem to be making good progress.
We are very happy with the resource scientific approach. Still, we have some way to go because we have a very ambitious target, and that's a 50% cost cut in P&A. So that's very ambitious, but it's not easy always to measure this directly. One aspect we are looking at is how can we, let's say, get confidence to new technologies, and that one way to do this is by designing these new technologies according to scientific principles, not only testing at a certain spot in terms of pressure, temperature, and conditions, but also be able to design according to scientific principles. That's very important in the SWIPA project.
Yeah. So applying real science to, I guess, the art of well plug and abandonment is a big challenge. Eh?
Yeah, and that's not included in the, let's say, regulations and NORSOC as yet. There are more, let's say, numbers given. It's not defined how to design. So that's one of our ambitions in order to, let's say, change somewhat the regulations, the NORSOC regulations, to, let's say, adapt to the accurate or the actual field conditions.
And there you're almost starting to get into behavioural change, aren't you? As well as the scientific. You want people to approach things in a way that maybe they haven't done it traditionally.
Yes, that's correct. So it's a new approach, and we need some maturing also for the operators in order to understand this.
Yes. So are there, within all the program, within all the interesting research that you have going on, are there any highlights that come to mind for you of things that are where you're seeing results starting to come through now, maybe things that are starting to move toward industry?
I think we have made very good progress in testing as a third party for new alternative barrier materials. That includes geopolymers, it includes bismuth alloys, it includes epoxy materials. We have, of course, tested towards the reference the ordinary Portland cement, and that's very important results. We feel we have seen how the mechanical properties can be affected by the new materials, how robust it is towards temperature, pressure, and soil conditions. So we have run quite extreme exposure, for instance, H2S rich environments, and just now we are running with a CO2 rich environment towards these materials.
Toward, I guess, the CO2 rich toward, as you say, one of the themes has got a strong leaning toward carbon capture, carbon sequestration, and we need to know that the materials that we use for that are robust when we start to get into more and more injection.
That's correct. And also, one motivation for studying new materials is that we want to, let's say, have an alternative to the, let's say, fixed length requirement for designing the well barrier. Rather than have a 50-meter plug, we want to investigate, can we do it with a shorter plug length? And could a solution be to, let's say, use an alternative material, well barrier material?
Yeah. We're starting to see bismuth in particular. We're starting to see being used, I wouldn't say on a completely regular basis, but certainly reasonably often now in Australia, which is nice to see those new materials starting to come through. And there seems to be one of the challenges, of course, is going to be confidence in industry, and I imagine that's something again that particularly with the commercialization side and with the acceptance to industry that you're also working toward helping alleviate.
Yes, and we are running, let's say, test as a third-party actor again.
Yes.
Very important for bismuth alloy performance is the temperature. So we are investigating what's the impact on, let's say, how robust is the mechanical properties for bismuth alloys in the downhole conditions. Clearly, there are limitations when it comes to high temperature for bismuth alloys. So that's the one thing we are actually mapping in the project.
So you say you've got 3 more years in the program?
That's correct. Yes.
What are you looking forward to over those 3 years in terms of, what are you hoping to see over those next 3 years?
Well, we hope really to get more acceptance towards the new materials, well barrier materials. That's very important. And if that's is a success, we can also argument for and design for shorter plug lengths. So shorter plug lengths, and also being in a position to have a rigless solution is very important. So rigless requires that you will have shorter plug lengths. So that's a clear link between those that opportunity, rigless, and the requirement shorter plug lengths.
And that then brings you towards your significant cost savings and time savings objective. Yeah, if you can get away from a rig, you can be rigless. If you've got less material down the well, and you clearly it's less expensive to do that work as well. So they're all building towards that aspirational 50% savings. Yeah.
Yes, definitely, and clearly the subsea wells will be the tricky wells when it comes to cost. So that has been, let's say, it's a bit postponed in terms of P&A operations, but we have some time, at least for the Norwegian continental shelf, to address this. But clearly, that's a big motivation. How can we do subsea wells with a lighter vessel than a platform? And that requires, let's say, rigless, shorter plug length.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Look, we will make sure that we have contact details when the podcast goes out, so that people can reach out to you if they want to know more about what you've got going on, or if they want to come on board as another partner and help put money in the till to pay for the work that you're doing. But thank you so much, Harald, for your time, and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.